Hi, I'm Dan Danford. We're doing a series of podcasts for Dad's Divorce called Money Made Easy, where we look at topics of financial interest to the people who visit the website. We've all heard the lament. It's pretty common today, maybe fashionable to say that the American dream is dead. I know that I talk to people all the time and they tell me, I don't think that my kids are going to have it as good as we did. And that's pretty common. We hear that lament a lot. I want to tell you that I don't think it's true. I've been blessed in many ways in my life, and in many ways I've lived that dream in some respects. One of the things that I think happens is that it's sort of nostalgic for people to look back on when they were younger. And so they look around today and they say, things aren't quite what they used to be back when I was younger. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're worse, but to them it might seem that way. It seems like maybe it was easier back when we were young. I'm not sure that that's really true. There is a very reputable financial advisor that's written several books on the subject. His name is Nick Murray, and he is sort of an advisor to advisors. And one of the things that he says all the time is that financial success is 80% behavioral. I want to think about that just for a second. I don't know whether he's right or wrong about the 80%, but let's say it's 70 or 60 or even 50%. The bottom line is a significant amount of how successful we are financially has to do with the decisions that we make, the things that we do with our money that will help determine whether or not we're successful. The whole notion of being upside down in a car loan is sort of a classic example of bad decision making. What it means basically is you borrowed more money on the car than the car is worth after you drive it off the lot. And there are example after example after example. Now, what I'm going to suggest is that if we take Nick Murray's recommendation, if we listen to what he says, that 80% of financial success is behavioral, okay, and then add that to another one of the laments that we hear in society, and that is that the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer. When we bring those two things together, maybe it tells us something. Maybe what it tells us is the rich keep getting richer because they make smart financial decisions, and the poor keep getting poorer because they do not. One of the key factors on financial and business success in the world has to do with education. I mean, the way I say this many times when I'm talking to people, I don't say the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. What I say is that the educated get richer and the uneducated get poorer, because there is a very strong correlation between the amount of education you have and the amount of financial success that you have. So if you want to increase your financial success, then increase your education. And I guess my point about education would be that we need to focus on lifelong education. The more you continue to become educated, the more likely you are to have financial success. Another thing from the richer, poorer function is the notion of focusing on your profession. What we found through research and other things is that there's another correlation between how hard you work and how much you get ahead. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because there are a lot of people who work very hard and don't accomplish much. But the truth is, if you want to get ahead financially, you need to do both. You need to work very hard and you need to accomplish a lot. It's not that tough to do, but that's one of the things you have to do. A third area is what I call initiative. And it goes back to the issues of financial reviews and financial planning. And that quite simply is most folks don't get ahead just by luck. Okay? Most people get ahead because they have a plan and they work that plan. It takes initiative. You have to want to get ahead, and then you have to do the things necessary to do that. One that I already have down and I've already talked about is responsible spending. It's probably the biggest problem in our society today is people making dumb spending decisions. Before you buy something, whatever it is, I don't care whether it's an iPod or a TV or a computer or whatever, before you go and buy it, go on to eBay and look it up and see what it's selling for. Okay, what you're going to find out is You know, there's a difference, sometimes a substantial difference between that item brand new and that item used. Okay? That's what you walk away from when you buy that new item, especially if you finance it. You know, I've done this with my own kids and my own family. I've often bought electronic equipment and gear off of eBay that was refurbished. You know, it comes from exactly the same warranty. It's been fixed to factory specifications, and sometimes you can buy it for half as much as what that item costs new. Now, I don't hold myself out as being brilliant when it comes to spending, but these are just some steps that I'd suggest to you, that if you do wise spending, then you will hit financial success. And the last thing I'll touch on here in terms of the rich richer and the poor poorer is the notion of saving. People who accomplish a lot in their lives typically set aside some of their money every paycheck. Okay, now I know that sounds hard, and the younger you are, the harder it sounds. But what we have found out is that it's easier to live without some chunk of your paycheck when you're young and when you build it into your program. Now, here's my takeaway from this discussion today. I really don't believe that the American dream is dead. What I do believe is that many of us have lost sight of what it takes to achieve financial success. And it really isn't that hard, especially if we start young and we do the right things. The world wasn't better 30 years ago than it is today. And it's likely that our kids are going to be sitting here 30 years from now, maybe we'll be long gone, and they'll be lamenting back for these days. And they'll be saying, you know, the whole world just isn't as good as it used to be when I was young. Okay? Well, that's the position that we're in today. And I really think there are massive opportunities for young people today. Okay? You just have to make the right decisions to accomplish what you want to accomplish. This is Dan Danford at Dad's Divorce, Money Made Easy. I'm telling you, I believe in the American dream because I have lived it and because I am living it. See you next week.